Hello guys, thanks for joining me for yet another exciting division video. I got something interesting to share with you today. It is one of the most fun builds that I've ever tried in the game since the release of the update 1.6, and I think you guys are gonna love it. So if you don't know, this is part of the series that I started on my channel where I try new builds before the update 1.6.1 quality update drops. This is going to be the third one, and if you want to see the other builds that I tried in the past, you can feel free to check the description below. I'm going to leave a link over there. This build is going to be geared towards PVE, and I'm currently working on the PvP version of it. If you want to see the PvP version of it, or if you want to be one of the first person who get to see it, then feel free to subscribe to this channel and leave a like, show some love. So let's get right into it. To begin with everything, I've spent so many credits trying in so many different combinations of this build, and this is the one that I settled with, and it works extremely well. This build was conceived around how the gears are going to be able to synergize well, as well as to make you survivability, to increase your survivability in the game. The background of this build is going to be the MDR. It's an exotic gun, and I know it's so hard to find in this game, but you can also use the bullfrog as an alternative if you don't have an MDR or any assault rifle of your choice. But I don't want to kill their fun, so let's get right into the gear that I'm using. You want to be using 4 pieces of FireCrest with Barrett's chest piece and a high-end backpack. So the chest piece that I'm using for this build is going to be the exotic Barrett's chest piece, and in this case I've rolled it into electronics. The major attributes that you want to be looking for right here is going to be exotic damage resilience, or enemy armor damage will also work perfectly. So you also want to have ammo capacity because you're going to be using the same gun variant. In this case it's going to be assault rifles, and you're going to be doing a lot of damage with your bullets, and you want more bullets in your gun if you're doing any legendary mode missions, or in terms of incursions where missions are really long. You want to have a lot of bullets with you. As for mods, I have 2 stamina mods with health to improve your survivability, and you want them to be more than 3k if you can. You have to go in. If you do whatever that you have to do, grind for it, whatever that you need to do, you want to get it more than 3k. What a chest piece is going to do here is, like, there is this talent on the Lorraine Barrett's bulletproof chest piece that is going to increase your skill when there's no skill on cooldown, and you're going to have damage increase by 10% when one skill is on cooldown, and you're going to get ammo increased by 10% when there are 2 skills on cooldown, and it works perfectly, absolutely perfectly with this build. Let's talk about the max that I'm using here. This is going to be a FireCrest max roll into firearms. I have skill roll on there as a major attribute, but it's really important to have skills because your turret is going to be using skill to manifest into damage towards your enemies, and in this case it's basically going to be NPCs. For minor attributes, you want to roll damage to elites because most NPCs in the legendary modes or incursions are all going to be elites. As for mods, I went with fire skill haste mod, and I can't stress enough on how much skill haste is really important in this game. If you've been watching my videos, I try to stack up so many skill haste as I can, and I will explain further. If you want me to do any video about how skill haste really help my character in this game, then leave a comment in the section below. Let's talk about the knee pads that I'm using. It's going to be a FireCrest knee pads, as you guys can tell, and I've rolled it into health. For major attributes, you want to roll health, and you want to have damage to elites as your minor attributes with any 2 minor attributes of your choice. Damage to elite is really important in this case because most of the NPCs that you're going to be fighting, as I said earlier on, are all going to be elites, and you want to have damage to elites to increase the amount of damage that your gun is going to be doing towards your NPC. Also on the knee pads, you want to have 33% bend resistance, and you want to have 30% bleed resistance. Shock resistance would have been great, but I wasn't really blessed to have shock resistance roll on mine. Let's talk about the FireCrest glove that I'm using. I have it roll into firearms, and you always want to be aiming for something higher that you can find. Any highest firearms roll that you can find on any FireCrest glove that you may come up across. I know that as you keep playing the game, you'll start looting so many good gear, and you want to be looking out for that. In this case, I found one that was rolled into 1270 firearms, and I just run with it. For the major attributes, you want to have critical hit chance roll on there, because most assault rifles doesn't have critical hit chance. You want to have critical hit chance roll somewhere on one of your gear, and in this case, I'm rolling that onto my gloves. You also want to have skill haste, as I have over here, and I also have assault rifle damage roll. You can also roll any gun that you want to use. You can replace the assault rifle with something like SMG, damage roll, or something, you know, anything. You got to play around this whole build for your own taste. But I have roll into assault rifle because assault rifle has damage, enemy armor damage, which is really important in any PvP or PVE gameplay. Let me take you all the way back to the knee pads, because I forgot to show you the mods that I was using on my knee pads. And this mod is just going to be skill haste mod and first aid self heal. First aid self heal is really important because you're going to be healing yourself, and you want to have better heals if you don't have too much skills. The holster that I'm going to be using in this build is also going to be a FireCrest holster, and because all holsters come roll with all the major stats that you need in the game, you want to be aiming for something above 1100 if you can. And in my case, I found one rolling to really high stats across all boards. I have high stats in terms of firearms, I have high stats in terms of stamina, and I have high stats in terms of electronics. The major attributes that you want to be rolling on your holster, and I can't stress enough on it, is going to be reload speed. Reload speed is really important, and I even made a comment about it in my other video. The last piece of this build that makes this whole build come together and shine brightly is going to be the backpack. The backpack that you want to be using is going to be the backpack Relentless, which has a specific talent that says that 5% damage done by skill is returned to healing, and this synergizes perfectly with this build because your turret is going to be doing too much damage to all your enemies, and you're going to be healed alongside with it. And who doesn't want that? To kill more enemies and to get healed as well. With that being said, it doesn't mean that you don't have to roll into stamina. You want to have more stamina as you can, and you want to be hitting close to 5k if possible. In case your turret get destroyed in any kind of gameplay, you want to have some kind of toughness to fall back onto. This will make you extremely tanky, and it's a must-have if you want to have any build similar to what I'm showing you guys today. And I know that you guys are really going to love the gameplay that I'm going to attach to the end of the whole build, and you can feel free to leave any comments on how to improve on this build. For the major attribute on your backpack, you must have health for sustainability, and ammo capacity must be rolled on there as a minor attribute. The mods that I'm going to be using on this backpack is going to be stamina health mods, turret damage, and turret health. And I think you know where this is going. You're going to be using a turret, and you want to have a little bit of you want your turret to last longer, basically. So enough being said, let's talk about the gun that I'm going to be running with this build. My primary gun is going to be the MDR, and is one of the best, if not the best gun in the whole game. It's an exotic gun, and it's so hard to come by. I was looking for it all the time, and a little bit of history over here. I got mine through the weekly activity caches. If you don't have this gun, don't really panic about it. you can always use the police MK17 or the bullfrog, and these guns also do a lot of damage. My came roll with destructive, which is a really beautiful talent if you're going to be playing PVE, and I roll prepared on it. And to me, prepared is one of the beautiful talent in the game, because if you're playing any legendary mode, or if you're doing any incursion assignments, you are going to be so far away from your enemy targets, and if you are 30 meters away from your enemy, prepared is going to give you a boost of increase in damage by 15%, and this is one of the beautiful way to get damage on your gun, and to me it works perfectly and absolutely flawless. The main talent that makes this gun exceptional is the third talent on this gun, which is called Distracted. What Distracted does is that it increased your damage by 18% against all enemy with status effect. And what is your turret going to be doing? Putting all enemy NPCs on fire, which means that they're on status effect. Status effect can be blind, deaf, on burning, all of the good stuff that you wanna always put your enemy in. And in this case, you're gonna have that. Urban MDR is the only gun that I know has this talent on it, and it synergizes perfectly with this build. So for the secondary gun, you want to be using any assault rifle of your choice. You can use the M4 variant, you can use any assault rifles of your choice, and in this case I'm using the LVOA-C, which has 18k damage and 21 enemy ammo damage roll on there. I've also rolled on there Competent, which increases my damage for 15 seconds when I'm using skills, and I also have Ferocious on it, which is a really beautiful talent if you want to be playing any PvP missions, especially the incursions of the legendary modes where all enemy NPCs are all elites, and this is going to give you a whopping 10%, and you can't ask for more. Let's talk about the third talent on this gun, and this is going to be the responsive talent. And what responsive does is that it increases your or boosts your damage by 10% when you're closer to your enemy. And this is really important because when you're ever doing the legendary modes, if you have ever paid attention, those guys with a shotgun will just rush up onto you. When they are getting closer, you get your damage boost by 10% right there, and this is something that you shouldn't be overlooking. And with all these talents put together, coupled with the 30% that your turret is going to be doing, and all the damage to at least that you roll onto your gear, you'll be doing a lot of damage, and you'll become a really viable player to your team. For mods that you want to be using with your guns, you want to have the Omega Rifle Suppressor for headshot damage, or you can use the Loud Vent Break Suppressor for critical hit damage and critical hit chance. You can also use a small grip, and it has more critical hit and critical hit chance on it. And you want to use on the standard magazine and the C779 scope if you don't want to use the X1 scope, which gives you more boost on your headshot damages. The skills that we're going to be using for this specific build is going to be the turret with the Dragon Breath modifier on it, and this is going to make the build complete, guys. You don't want to be using any skill. I don't know anybody who has this build and does not use a Dragon Breath modifier turret. That wouldn't make the whole build. It will make the whole build useless. And you can also use healing station or any kind of healing that of your choice. For talent, what I stick with is Strike Back, and I use a Wildfire. Wildfire really synergizes well with this build. I also use Precision, and I use One is None. I've wasted so many credit testing all the other different alternatives that this build could have been, and I've settled with this one, and I know that you guys are gonna love it if you follow it closely. you'll be doing a lot of damage to your NPCs. Your friends are gonna really love your gameplay. And I'm still currently working on a PvP version of it, where I will come up with different aspects so I can play in the last stand with it, and I can take it to the dark zone and feel confident about it. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the comment section below. I'm still going to leave a video of the gameplay that I play with some of the guys in the division, some of my friends, and I really love the game. I have one game where we had 2 people running the same FireCrest build, and it was so amazing. We were just doing so many damage with it. But thanks for watching this video, guys. I really appreciate your support that you've been giving me on this channel, and I hope that you guys are really gonna love this build. Check it out, try it, and just personalize it to your own taste, and I know that you're really gonna love this build. And as usual, if you have any comments, just leave it in the section below. This is still something that I want to improve on, so just leave any comments in the section below about how you want this build to be, and we will see. I will see you guys in the division. Peace.
Warning. Agent on your team is down. Requires assistance. is down. Requires assistance.